Welcome to Doomscroll. I'm Lisa Curry.
Hey, and I'm Matthew Sheffield, and today we are joined by my good friend Callie Holloway, who is also my co-host partner over on So This Just Happened. Welcome, Callie.
Thanks for having me.
So, first story of today, Mike Johnson has started releasing some of the January 6th, surveillance recordings. And I don't know why these people just... I mean, I know why they lie. Their followers just believe it, but they lie about things that are very easily debunked. And he was saying one of the people there, one of the insurrectionists, had some sort of badge, and he was creating a conspiracy theory around it. And
Mike Lee,
clearly, you could clearly see that it's a vape pen. So,
and he still hasn't deleted the tweet. Like that's it. It literally
probably still getting responses from conservatives saying the deep state hasn't proved that wasn't one of them.
Yeah,
someone should get right on that.
Yeah,
I have to say the part of the story that grabs me is I enjoy smoking weed. I cannot imagine being a little stoned and wanting to take over the government while still I can imagine it otherwise.
What I would, it's like literally like no one. I always think like no one takes an edible and goes out and commits a violent crime, right? It's like the opposite of alcohol. Like
yeah.
Although maybe, in fairness to him, maybe it was a tobacco vaping pen.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe he was just hopped up on nicotine. I mean, I don't know what that does to you. I know it's a stimulant. So maybe that's why we should ban cigarettes, so we can keep a democracy.
I mean, I think the more sort of annoying overarching theme here, which kind of just, syncs with every single thing that we've ever seen from these people, is that they spend a lot of time impugning everyone else for everything. And yet when it's their folks, they come up with every excuse in the book, from it was the deep state dressed up as Trump, cosplaying Trumpers, to this was just a normal tourist visit, to these people are now political prisoners. I mean, just the whole idea of this dump was that it was supposed to reveal something that it wasn't supposed to reveal something. It was supposed to convince.
They believed it. Yeah.
It was supposed to convince the same people that it would always convince that this is a group of, depending on who you're talking to, morally righteous people, entering the people's house in a very calm manner, or just a normal tourist passing through. And neither of those is fucking true. And yeah, I'm just like...
because it was Antifa and the FBI that did it.
Right, which is like the idea that there was this mass call between that many people who managed to get all their Trump paraphernalia together in that amount of time and show up at the same place. It's kind of amazing, but like that's what we're supposed to take from this.
The tourism thing really kills me, because it's like, we have video of it.
Yeah,
I've been a tourist in a lot of places. I've never punched out a window in any of those places. And also,
but have you pooped and smeared it on the walls?
You know what?
Because
you haven't lived until you've done that.
I mean, were you even on vacation if you didn't do that?
I have walked out of a government building with a podium. So,
these are the same people that complained about Obama putting his feet up. Like, I guarantee you the Venn diagram of these people overlap, right? So, yeah, it just, always for me, there's like a racial aspect to this story that I find enraging, which is the constant effort to absolve a crowd of a mob of white people, in the midst of an insurrection, while they spend all their time. Still all they talk about is the way that BLM burned down the entire country. Like we're like Redfin rebuilding. So
it was rebuilt instantaneously. That's the thing.
It's also there's a lot of video during the BLM protests of like cop. There was that one video of the cop that was like, or they later found out it was a cop who was like, had his face covered and everything, who was starting like going to a building and busting out the windows.
Yeah,
and it's like,
there were ops actively doing that stuff, right? So like, long history, COINTELPRO, all that kind of stuff of. But I'm constantly not astounded, because this is par for the course, but just one, we know that scene would have looked completely different if the people invading that space had been BLM protesters, right? Like there would have been a bunch of dead folks.
Yeah.
They would have opened fire immediately and shot indiscriminately. But just also the fact that like the entitlement of the people who are defending the people who went into that building, alternating between defending them or saying that it wasn't actually Trump supporters, is, I mean, it just speaks volumes. The fact that they it's like, don't believe what you see, or somehow they had a right to do this. Like there's this idea that like white grievance always deserves to be recognized and elevated and is justified.
Especially in Ohio diner.
Especially, yes, please, I need someone from every newspaper to take a flight to a local diner called the Rusty Shoe and get a man on the street interview from the least informed person there and put it on A1 of the New York Times.
Yeah. Well, you know what though, but like all of these explanations and excuses that they come up, like they don't actually believe them. Only the total, low level rube idiots believe them. Like
the base believes it. They don't. Josh Hawley obviously doesn't believe it. We have the video. Like the people cowering in fear obviously don't believe it. But their base believes it, and their base believes that they have signed on to a party that is there to protect them from every single force that would ever deny them their rightful sort of ability to do whatever they want because of their status. And this is just them kind of flexing that muscle in front of them. I mean, it's performative, right? But it's performative in the direction of the people that they serve, or, because they don't really care about serving the rest of the US, right? So it's performative in the sense that it's like, look, we're again defending you. You have people, there should always be a privileging of how you feel. And once again, we're going to defend you.
We're going to protect you from reality, basically. Like that's basically the whole point of the Republican Party. We will protect you from reality.
Listen, when you say it like that, I kind of want to sign up. I would like to be protected from reality. I'm not interested in this anymore. Take me to somewhere where the planet's not on fire and people aren't getting shot in the street. Like I would love to go there, actually.
Well, you're not eligible though, Lisa.
Well, the irony is that they're still not happy. I mean, they're being protected from reality in every single way, and they're some of the most miserable people on the planet who spend all their time telling everyone else to leave, but clearly hate the country. So it hasn't actually. They're not getting out of it what they want out of it, but.
Also, I would love to leave whenever they're like, well, why don't you just leave? I'm like, do you have any idea how much a work visa is for the UK?
Do you think I haven't looked into it? Like,
if you could pull together like 10, 15 grand, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Give me a job in France. I'll sign the dotted line.
Threaten me with a good time.
Yes, no kidding.
But you know what though, like that whole sort of fake reality stuff, like you can see that also with this constantly swirling scandal around Matt Schlapp, the president of the American Conservative Union, which is the organization that puts on the infamous CPAC conference every year. Like everybody, you can only deny reality for so long though. Even for these people, they can't do it, and usually it involves the court system, unfortunately, having to drag them back to reality. And in this case, that's what's going on. So he's being sued for sexually assaulting a guy who was driving him in the car. And the guy just won't go away. He won't go away. What's wrong with him?
It's sexual assault is funny that way. People are not interested in just brushing it off.
I mean, kudos to that guy because I haven't revisited it, but I did read sort of what he sort of said on the record so far. And he has been pressured to not speak out, right? And so I just sort of applaud that he's following through on this.
Yeah. I mean, at least we're turning the tables a little bit, and men are also having to deal with it. Like fuck everybody that thinks that, you know, it's just so easy to come forward, and why aren't people reporting it and saying things? It's like, because you're pressured to not, or you're harassed, or you're doxxed, or whatever. It's not, there's no upside. There's
Yeah.
no upside.
The idea that like people are just I mean, I feel like especially in 2017, right? There was this idea that like the floodgates had opened, and finally, mostly women were having the opportunity to do what meant to men what they always wanted to do, which was
bludgeon them.
Take them in front of the spotlight, but then steal the spotlight for themselves by making up these accusations. It's like, yeah, the fun of having your name dragged through the mud, of having a million character witnesses called to, you know, besmirch your name.
Say
like,
that you're a crazy slut.
Saying that you're crazy, that you're out for vengeance, that you want money, that it's about attention, attention, like any of that stuff. So yeah, but I mean, I don't know if this is actually, because my guess honestly is that this is not, by the time you get to the point where someone has public accusations happening, it means it probably wasn't the first time. I mean, the boldness with which he acted, that wasn't his first rodeo, so to speak. What a terrible metaphor, but
not his first gay rodeo.
It was not his.
I feel like rodeos are inherently gay.
Well, but
I don't know if this is actually, I'm wondering how much this will actually ultimately, because it's been ongoing, right? So, I mean, do you feel like this is something that's actually going to...
accusers. Well, he has other accusers. Now, they haven't sued him yet, but the guy who is suing him, you know, he's basically, I mean, you know, it's just, again, this whole fake reality thing. Like, Matt Schlapp obviously is gay. And like I have met him, and I definitely had that gay vibe from him. But of course, I don't, you know, like you can't be 100% sure on gaydar. No, he did not grope me, as far as I know. But you know, but his wife is like this fanatical Christian Mercedes Schlapp.
Does she speak in that sort of baby voice that extreme Christian women use?
She kind of does, yeah. And you know, but it's like she obviously knew that her husband was gay, and she's still, you know, standing by her man and all this, and you know, and like, but it's again because the legal system is involved. The fiction, it's having trouble being, you know, perpetuating itself, and so now he's lost. ACU has lost 5 board members, and people are saying this guy needs to go, and maybe let's shut down the whole damn organization, because I mean, you know, like as a former conservative, yeah, me too, right?
Yeah.
But and like when I was a conservative, and I actually worked they were a client of mine at one point for my PR and marketing company, and you know, like I constantly heard from people who were Republicans that were like, CPAC is an embarrassment to us. Please shut this damn thing down. And now they're saying it publicly. So, you know, that might be maybe one thing to look forward to in 2024.
I do love how much Republicans embarrass themselves. Like there's so little work we have to do. It's just like they just keep stepping on rakes, and it's like I love this. It's fun to watch. I wish it resonated with their followers at all. I wish their followers were also embarrassed by proxy, but that's just never going to happen.
Well,
yeah, there is no level
people like me out there.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, I think generally, I mean, part of the whole thing is being embarrassing and shitty. Like that's,
I mean, I will say
kink.
my mom voted for Trump the first time around, and now she won't even talk about it. She's humiliated. She's, you know, and if you bring it up, she's like, I'm not getting into it. I don't want to talk about it. I just wanted a non-politician. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to forget though.
Yeah. We have to, we couldn't not do this story since we do have a Georgia girl on the show today.
I think Georgia peach is the term that you're looking for.
Okay, well, yeah. So Georgia, there was a coach down there who has gotten fired for baptizing his football players in a Gatorade bucket.
And this story enraged me so much because I'm so sick of them demanding that we take God out of our schools.
Yeah,
What?
it's well, yeah.
Okay, sorry. You fucked with me there.
No, it totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds exactly like the kind of. It didn't surprise me. It's of course this is the kind of thing that would happen, and
It
it
kind of
sounds
never
like that.
surprises me because I'm like, cult members are gonna recruit followers however they can.
Yeah, cult members
always.
gonna cult.
Yeah, they don't give a shit if it's school. They would do it at the post office if they thought they could get away
Yeah.
with it, you know? And now that after that, I'm forgetting the name of the case, but after that Supreme Court case, well, it was within the last year, whenever it was, where they
Wanted to be able to pray. The coach wanted to be
yeah,
able
the
to
coach,
pray.
Yeah.
because I read the dissent, and it was like they left so much evidence out of the case when they were arguing it. The conservative justices left all this evidence out that this coach had been reprimanded several times
Typical.
before, that there was backlash for students that weren't participating in it. And it's like, cool, they just ruled in favor of religion in schools. And it's like, not that, like, I never want, you know, something like Islam to be used in like a pejorative way, or like as a you don't want to like weaponize it, but it's also like, I fucking kind of wish somebody would be converting kids to Islam, because you know they would be like, we got to put the kibosh on this right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
even to a lesser, I mean, my first thought was like, if they held a bar mitzvah even
Yeah,
on that same field.
Yeah, and I just have to say, on a sillier note though, that, you know, like literally, and I there was a video of him doing it. So he brought some pastor in, and they had the boys in these buckets that held the drinks, and their legs are dangling out of the out of the bucket, and it's like, it looks so fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah.
how could you think that that was a normal thing?
It's
that you
like
would want in
half
your
the size
school?
of a bathtub.
I'm curious
Yeah.
about like how much, you know, are parents co-signing this? Are they not? Like, you know, I mean, it is a kind of, I think, a relevant question.
Yeah, that's a thing too. I mean, I was baptized in the Catholic Church, and I'm just like, it was just some kind of ceremony. I don't think anything of it. But I know my mom would have been livid if somebody had baptized me into another religion. She would have been like, are you fucking kidding me? Because it means so much to her.
If she found out you were baptized during intramural sports, and so like that's where, like, what, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I just come out from Girl Scouts. I'm like, hey, I'm Jewish now, and she's like, what?
Yeah, it'd be a little more problematic if you were a guy that had that shoved on you at lunch, though.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to be dunked underwater in front of my peers. What the fuck? It's like, it's just also a weird thing in that way, where it's like, you're gonna have to shower and change your clothes, and like, it's all just so strange.
Well, and aren't they supposed to be all under the water? I mean, and like, I never was an evangelical, but like in the Mormon religion, were they baptized the same way as the Baptists, as far as I know? And like, when you would get baptized, because I got baptized when I was 8, and like, if your little toe was sticking out of the water, then they would do it again. They make you. So it's like, is this even a real baptism?
No, you can be just partially dunked. That
yeah,
I think it counts.
I know in the Catholic Church, I think
false
they just
doctrine,
kind of like pour some water over your head if you're a baby.
Exactly. Yeah, just like dribbling it on the forehead.
No, but it's different though for the Baptists though. But again, like, I don't. It sounds like none of us has any idea what we're talking about, so it's familiar territory.
I try to avoid knowing. It is like, I don't know. It's fucked up, and it's also just funny to me that like, really, this is where we're at. What a bizarro. I do love that the Church of Satan is pushing back on something.
So I was actually, when you said that you were hoping someone would, you know, some other group that wasn't Christian, I immediately thought of the Church of Satan, because I just thought, God, this is exactly where we need them. Like, they are great on this kind of stuff. They really do. Yeah. They're really doing God's work.
The after school Satan clubs, they are hilarious. and real too.
Well, but
That's
I mean,
the
they
other
really
thing.
do. I mean, they have litigated some stuff. There was that there. I mean, it's been years now, so I don't remember like all the details of the case. But that there was a state where they wanted to put a statue of the Ten Commandments in the state house, and so they put this huge, that they also put up a statue of a satanic
Baphomet.
deity.
Yeah.
That was great.
Baphomet.
Yeah, Baphomet. And then there was
Yay.
the campaign that they did to they initiated this campaign of starting to send postcards to anti-reproductive justice politicians detailing things about your period, because since they wanted to be all up in your ovaries, why not give them all of it, right? I mean, I feel like they've been very, very good at either actually litigating or leading campaigns that are just like feeding people their own medicine and seeing how they like it.
Yeah, I love it. I think we need more of that.
Shit.
I wish it were like a bigger movement and more widespread.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate, I think like, Gen Zers and like just younger generations generally, with each generation, there's less and less religion and less belief in God. And I'm like, fantastic. I love it. I'm here for it.
Oh, and that's why they're getting so crazy. I mean, like Mike Johnson, I guess last week, he was revealed to have been in this prayer call with some freaky evangelical group and basically said, God's judgment is upon America, I think. And, our church attendance has fallen below 50% for the first time. And all these bad things are happening. Oh, and maybe it's because there's more young people identifying as lesbian or bisexual or gay. And it's like, the world's on fire because of transgender teenagers. They really believe that.
What they're going to do to drum up more membership too, because wasn't it like, I think it was maybe the 15th century, if anybody's listening and you're like wrong, that's fine, I'm probably wrong. I think it was the 15th century when the church was losing numbers, so that's when they started hiring artists to draw depictions of the devil to scare people into church, and it worked. But now I feel like people are like, okay, yeah. It was like a big widespread campaign where they hired artists to draw like scary depictions of the devil, which is like, okay, and it worked then, but I feel like now that we have such thing as graphic artists, they're probably like, all right, less impressed by this.
I mean, the funny thing is that it makes me think about just how Mike Johnson, of course, the thing that he thinks is leading to the destruction of the church and thus the world is non-heteronormative living, because that's the absolute worst thing in his mind, which brings me back to the point of Mike Johnson is gay and has been living life in a extreme religious setting so that he can suppress all that stuff because he feels like
I just like no one thinks about gay people and gay sex more than conservative politicians. No one. Gay people don't think about gay sex that much.
Yeah.
It's like
an absolute obsession.
Yeah. Find a hobby. Get a hobby. Learn how to do pottery. Just anything.
I mean, their hobby is resisting their sexual urges, same gender sexual urges. That is their hobby, except they've weaponized it into political careers and policies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess what we need to do is get Matt Schlapp and Mike Johnson to get a room. That's what we need.
There's some
just get it over with, guys. Some what?
Pins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we need like an Eyes Wide Shut situation, but just with all of them.
Oh God!
Go out to some weird mansion in the woods. Do what you have to do.
Yeah, have at it, but leave us alone.
Yeah, please, for the love of God. It's also like, I feel like what I can't wrap my mind around too is, even if you're a conservative that hates gay people, you might be struggling in other areas of your life. Is this really what you want your politicians to spend their time and your tax dollars doing? Or would you like to not hit a pothole every 2 miles? Would you like to be able to feed your kids? Would you like to have oxygen? It's like there's so much more that is more important than regulating other people's lives. There's plenty of shit that other people do that I can't stand.
Yeah.
I hate cigarettes. I wish we would hunt people down that smoke and, you know, put them in a chokehold and get them to stop. But also that's not what I want my money being spent on. Sorry if you smoke cigarettes.
Well, I think a lot of it is also that, you know, like for Mike Johnson and a lot of these guys, I mean, I have to say, like the white evangelical culture is so gay. Like it's just so gay. Like all the songs that they are constantly, it's a bunch of guys singing songs about Jesus as if he's their girlfriend and talking about how they want to have a man inside of them. I mean, it's so gay. Evangelical culture is so gay.
Absolutely shredded.
Yes. I'm serious. And
like I love my beefy God.
It's not a real God unless you want to get off with them. But yeah. Anyway, the Church of Satan, though, they are doing good work, and other people who are doing good work in the news as this trolling group called NAFO.
I love it.
Which is a fun organization, and I think a lot of people haven't heard of them. So they're doing they're basically trying to troll Russia at their own game, beat Russia on the internet with trolling, but they've decided they're interested in Donald Trump's Truth Social now. You want to?
I wonder what percentage of Americans are even on Truth Social, because
I'm on there actually.
Oh.
I am. I registered for it one day just for the hell of it, just to be
see what's going on over there. Sure.
Yeah, and it's mostly a ghost town, and like that's the thing about NAFO. Basically, it's a parody group that they call themselves the North Atlantic. It's North Atlantic Fellas Associate, or what's the
organization?
Yeah,
I guess one of the founders founded Birds Aren't Real, which is like my favorite thing.
Oh, that's great. Funny. Okay.
So funny.
Yeah.
Just to satirize all these conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah. So NAFO basically people are just in there trolling the fuck out of Russians, and I guess maybe they want to take a break, and they went over to Truth Social, and there's like nobody there on Truth Social.
So really, is it? I mean, because it doesn't surprise me that you're there. Like, I feel like a fair amount of journalists that I follow are there because they want to repost the crazy shit that people post there, particularly Donald Trump. But does it feels like a ghost town to you? Like it's
oh, absolutely. Yeah, basically, it's kind of like this sort of post-apocalypse social media environment where everybody's huddled together around the accounts of around the biggest accounts, and like anything you post normally on your own profile, no one will ever see it because they just cluster around, you know, like the dipshits like Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump Jr. You know, or some of these other people, and you know, and then mostly the comments are just mostly like totally irrelevant to whatever the person posted, you know, just like some stupid meme that a 7-year-old would think was funny, and like that's mostly what the content is.
It does drive me nuts that these people make so much money, and I'm like, I would love to know like what percentage of the shit that they say that they even believe, you know, versus like, because I know a couple of comedians who are not politically on the right, but pretend to be, and they say insane shit, and they are making a lot of money, like tens of thousands of dollars a month on Patreon to just say inflammatory shit. And it's like,
see, this really interests me. So they're people that you personally know, and their whole shtick is basically they just play to right wing crowds.
No, I'm not. I have to say, I'm not friends with them.
But that exists. Like that's a thing. That's real.
And they've admitted, they're like, oh, I don't believe any of this shit, but it's what makes money. And I'm like, I mean, can you guys imagine how much money I would make if all of a sudden I went to Fox News and as a blonde white lady and I'm like, I've seen the light.
Not as much money as I would make as a black lady being like, hey, you want a mascot that you can wave? I'm your gal.
Kelly, do you want to go into business together?
I mean, we'd be a dynamo.
Yeah, we've seen the light. Progressives are stupid.
Oh my God.
They're all wrong. We would be millionaires by Christmas.
Yeah.
And you gotta seal the deal by becoming evangelicals as well. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's not push it.
Rolling.
Baby steps.
Yeah, but when you're doing things that like turn the tides and like take away people's rights and make people harass and murder other people, it's like that's not good. One blonde white lady who makes a lot of money not being evil, who actually does a lot of good stuff, is Taylor Swift, who is polling above Nikki Haley, Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Ron DeSantis, Kamala Harris, and Hamas, if you can believe it. People like her more than they like Hamas.
And Russia, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like Republicans are pretty upset that she's doing so much better than them. But I'm like, she's like the most like Miss America kind of like, she's Christian. She pays people well. She did country music, for God's sakes. It's
the
like
alt-right tried to claim her as their mascot. I mean, that was an ongoing thing. This is after Richard Spencer tried to claim Depeche Mode as their mascot, but didn't realize.
Are you serious? I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, he said that Depeche Mode was the band of the alt-right, which is hilarious because unbeknownst to him, and I'm sure he's a guy who's into the one drop theory. But unbeknownst to him, one of the members of Depeche Mode is black. So I couldn't wait for that statement to come out. I knew it was just a matter of time. But yeah, it's like she's like super American Pie, and yet, but they don't like her because she encourages.
He told people to vote.
Yeah, encourages people to vote,
which
is something they're constitutionally opposed to.
Yeah, how dare you? Yeah. Well, and it's also, they also don't like her because, you know, she I mean, while she's still, I mean, let's be clear, she's raging progressive or socialist or anything like that. But she's
as little as possible, to be honest.
Yeah, but at the same time,
allowing herself to be used as a mascot for Nazis.
Yeah.
She I don't know. I just watched her documentary recently, and she got into a big argument with her dad and some other people.
I saw that the Netflix one, right? Yeah. Where she finally
I have to speak out.
Yeah. It took her a long time to do it, but she did kind of. I feel like the kind of bare minimum for someone who wants to say like, "Hey, I'm not."
Yeah.
I have to. It's across the point where I have to say something.
Yeah. I mean, at least who knows? I'd be curious to see how many of those people that she got to register to vote actually then voted.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's a step in the right direction. Last story today. So apparently online dating scammers, and this was inevitable, they're now using AI to generate fake photos and videos of women. Like, are men the most easily fooled, Matt? What like my cousin was telling me her dad was starting to give money to this woman in quotes, because it's just some scammer on the other side.
Right, a bunch of zeros and ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and her dad's like, 72, heavy smoker, doesn't take care of himself. And he's like, this woman is in love with me. And she's like, you're not talking to a real person. There's not like a 23-year-old woman who's reaching out to you because she's just so horny for you. It's just sorry.
You're a mark.
But also like men are so deluded to think like, oh, if only I met Cindy Crawford, she would get
like me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, and I think a lot of guys, they think that they're so obsessed with rating women's appearances, but then they also don't rate themselves as well.
Yeah.
And it's like,
like
a lot of them,
it's like,
if you're a 4 guy or 3, and suddenly a 9 or a 10 woman is coming on your social media profile, hitting you up,
in like a bikini pic, and she's like,
she's
I
not
love you so
interested
much.
in you.
Will you help me buy things?
Yeah, yeah. It is sad because because I'm sure a lot of these victims are older, because like in
Mhm.
that article they did talk about this one guy who had sent 60 grand to somebody in the
Really?
Philippines, and of course it involved cryptocurrency, right?
Of
Of
course.
course. Yeah,
There's a
all for
precedent for
scam.
this, right? There are guys that there used to be like a thing called mail order brides where, dudes would just shop through
I have an
photos and
aunt who's a mail order bride.
right, like there was that. I mean, the men have always
Are you
tried to
serious?
find ways
I swear
against.
to God, yeah. From Poland. And if you met that uncle, you would be like, oh, of course no one would ever, there's not a chance somebody would marry this guy unless they were, wanting to move to America. There's no way.
I have to follow up. Are there still a couple? Have they been together for years and do they seem happy?
She almost immediately hated him. He's very obnoxious. They had 2 kids and then got divorced when the kids were little. And their daughters are gorgeous, and they're both in the medical field. And hilariously, my entire family, his siblings included, prefer her to him.
Wow. I mean, there's a part of me
Yeah.
that's like, congratulations for being industrious and motivated to her.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's
Yeah. Well, and I will
different.
say, yeah, and I will say, like the AI scamming is just a new wrinkle on, the former one, like the Nigerian prince scam,
Yeah.
But I will say, just on some of the funnier aspects of this story, though, is that, like I do think that, I mean, like TV has been notorious for encouraging men to think that this sort of thing is real. Like every even. Yeah, King of Fred Flintstone and Wilma Flintstone.
Every Judd Apatow film.
Like my parents.
Me in them.
Yes, yeah. Like my parents at first were leery of letting me watch the Flintstones because the women on there were just so hot and immodest. I'm not kidding, Sad.
Wow.
Hilarious.
But yeah, no, and so like, and of course couplings like that happen in real life but it's usually because the guy is so incredibly
Wealthy.
has a great personality or is super wealthy, and it's like but that's not how it is by and large, and guys they just, I think a lot of guys haven't realized that.
On that note, sorry to not end on a joke. I have to go.
Okay.
I have my appointment right now. So
okay.
I hope everyone out there
nice
finds love,
meeting you.
except for the great meeting you as well. I don't want conservatives to find love, but actually I kind of do. So they get laid and leave us alone.
That should have been the tagline.
Yeah.
I don't want conservatives to find love.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Callie, so people can find you on Twitter and at Callie Holloway FTW for the win, right?
It's a different time.
Yeah. And you can find me on Instagram at Olympian Lisa Curry. And this Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, I am headlining Catawba Brewing, whatever that is, in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah. And then, you should mention your comedy special. Plug that just one more time.
Yeah. I'm filming my first stand-up special in Madison, Wisconsin at Comedy on State, Thursday, December 14th. There's 2 shows. Come out. Please come out.
Hey, that's awesome. Are you from Wisconsin?
Thanks. I'm not, but I'm on the road for through the end of the year. So that's where it landed.
So you're doing this while you're on the road?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I just got in last night at like 3:30 in the morning. So it's
Oh my God. All right. She's got to go.
Yeah.
But I will talk to you in an hour.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. See you, Lisa. All right. Bye everybody.
Bye.